Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the inner sanctum.
An exciting hour for Jimmy from Boston, Marie Wilson, my friend Irma, the dinner date. This episode originally broadcast back on April 19th, 1948.
Irma, honey.
Yes, Jane?
This magazine says that scientists in Arizona have just found the footprints of a prehistoric animal 2 million years old. What do you think of that?
Well, I think they're silly if they try to track it down. I'm sure it's dead.
Well, that's what you can expect when you listen to My Friend Irma.
Friendship, friendship, just a perfect friendship. When other friendships have been forgot, theirs will still be hot.
Lever Brothers Company, makers of Swan, the soap with the exclusive super creamed blend, presents
Our Friend Swan.
With My Friend Irma.
Starring Marie Wilson as Irma and Kathy Lewis as Jane.
Tonight is a very important night for me. I'm anxious to be bright and gay, and I want to look my best. The reason? I met a new fellow. I really kind of like him. So I decided to discuss it with my roommate, Irma. Irma?
Yes, Jane?
I know this may shock you, honey, but I have a date tonight, and it's not with Richard.
Not with Richard? Oh, Jane, you're going to get a reputation for being footloose. Of course, if you want to go around with loose feet.
Oh, Irma, stop being a Puritan. This is 1948. How long can a girl wait for a man? I'm getting older.
So what? You know what they say, Jane. Wine improves with age.
I know. If you wait long enough, it can turn into vinegar. Personally, I think Richard's just wonderful, but he doesn't seem to be getting any more serious. The sound of those wedding bells seems to be growing fainter.
Well, that's one problem I haven't got, Jane. I hear bells in my head all the time. Jane, who's your new fellow?
Oh, his name's Peter Guilford. Irma, he's nothing short of sensational.
Oh, just like my Al. He's a sensational nothing, too.
You can say that again, but I wish you wouldn't because the subject bores me.
Oh, Jane, what does your new fellow Peter Guilford do?
Well, I don't know too much about him, honey, because I just met him. But I know he has an important job with the government. He mentioned something about being in charge of financial distribution.
Well, Jane, even though you met another fella, I still think you love Richard. Now tell me the truth.
Well, I don't really know, sweetie. Sometimes I'm not sure that I was ever truly in love with Richard.
Well, that's where Al and I are different. We know we're in love. Otherwise, why would I get all confused and dizzy?
Well, honey, the answer to a question like that has many ramifications. Anyway, I just can't wait until my date tonight with Peter Guilford. You know, I'm really excited about him. Come in.
It's only me, Professor Kropotkin. Hello, Janie and Irma, my two little crystal gazers. One with all the answers, the other still in a trance. Excuse me for intruding, girls. I just came down to tell you the good news. I made up with Mrs. O'Reilly.
Oh, wonderful, Professor. That's what we like to hear.
How long could I stay mad at a woman who has such a wonderful heart? Imagine, last night she baked me a 7-layer cake. Just what I needed.
Oh, that's nice.
It will make a perfect footrest. Well, like I am.
Oh, gee, this is a day for romance. You and Miss O'Reilly, and Jane has a new boyfriend.
Janie, is that right? What happened with Richard?
Nothing. It's just that Richard's been stalling, and I've decided not to put all my eggs in one basket.
Oh, you're smart, Jane. When they cost almost $1 a dozen, you have to be careful.
Being careful is what I want to talk to you about, Janie. A person in choosing a mate must never be too particular. You know, I remember when I started courting girls. One I didn't like because she was mean, another was jealous, another was stingy, another was naggy. So gradually I became an expert, and I wound up marrying a woman who was a combination of all of them.
Well, Irma's jumping to conclusions, Professor. I'm not marrying Peter Guilford. I'm merely having dinner with him.
But it's something to keep in mind, Janie. Why do you think I've gotten romantical thoughts about Mrs. O'Reilly? I'll tell you. All my life, women I've known have run around with other fellows. But Mrs. O'Reilly, her I could leave on an island with a boatload of shipwrecked sailors, and she wouldn't get kissed if a mistletoe tree fell on her. And that's what a man likes, peace of mind.
Oh, Professor, do you know that Jane's new boyfriend, Peter Guilford, has a very important job with the government?
Oh, really, Janie? What does he do?
Well, he told me he was in charge of financial distribution.
Oh, that already is a big job. And, Janie, I hope it works out well for you.
Thank you.
Well, girls, I got to go now. Since I'm taking Mrs. O'Reilly out, I think I'll run down to the corner and buy her a corsage, a bunch of celery.
Oh, Professor, you can't smell celery.
I got news for you. You can't eat daisies either. Goodbye.
Hello?
Hiya, chicken.
Hello, Al, honey. Where are you?
In a telephone booth down at the unemployment office. Gonna be a little late, chicken. The guy who gives out the checks seems to be all thumbs today.
Well, he shouldn't make you wait. After all, you're one of their best customers.
Yeah, I know. Would make a complaint, but don't want him to think I'm trying to take his job away from him.
Why not?
He might give it to me. Hey, hold it, chicken. The line's starting to move. We'll see you soon.
Goodbye, Al.
Bye, chicken.
Whew, made it. Boy, this gripes me. Still have to stand in line. You'd think a guy who's been coming here this long would have seniority. It's the fault of the guy who distributes the checks, that Peter Guilford. There's a real bum for you. Boy, I hate him. Oh, hiya, Pete. How's tricks?
Oh, it's you, Al. Did you look for a job this week?
No, I couldn't. You see, my grandmother died.
She died last week.
She rallied.
I knew you'd have an answer. You always do. Here's your check.
Aw, thanks, Pete. See you next week, kid. That Peter Guilford. I hate that bum.
Irma, honey, will you hand me my nail polish? I want to look my best for Peter Guilford tonight.
All right, Jane.
Come in. Oh, hello, Mrs. O'Reilly. Oh, my, you're all dressed up.
Oh, thank you, dear. The professor and I are going out tonight, and I was wondering if you could lend me a pair of dark glasses.
Dark glasses?
Yes, the wind blew me eyelashes off the windowsill. I wouldn't want him to see me without them. You know the way he kids about me false teeth and me artificial fingernails and me bleached transformation. He says if we ever cross the border, the customs man will be checking my parts 5 days after we've gone.
Oh, he's a great kidder.
It's me again, girls, and Mrs. O'Reilly. Oh, what a beautiful day it is. I was just out taking a walk.
Oh, Professor, don't move. There are 2 caterpillars on your shoulder.
Caterpillars? Glory be, those are me eyelashes.
As I should have known. You know, Mrs. O'Reilly, if this building ever caught fire and you jumped out of the window, the fireman wouldn't know which part to catch first.
Oh, hush, Professor. Tell me, Janie, darling, how's Richard? I see you wearing a new dress. Going somewhere special with him?
Well, before Irma gets a chance to distort the news, I'll tell it to you. I'm dating a new beau tonight.
Oh. Yes, and he's a very important man who works for the government.
Well, you know what's best for you, Janie. I only hope it'll bring you happiness. After all, the most important thing in life is love. Now, take me. All right? I'll admit I'm not a spring chicken. I'm 39. But I'm going out with the professor tonight.
Mrs. O'Reilly, you are 39. Then let me ask you a question. Why is it the moment the music starts, you automatically go into a minuet?
That's the reason I love to go out with you, Professor.
I like to go out with you, too. But so help me, I can't think of a reason.
Well, goodbye, girls. We'll be running along now.
Goodbye. And Janie, have a good time tonight with your new boyfriend.
Thanks, Professor. Irma, you know, I want to make a good impression tonight, so I think I'll buy a new hat. I won't be long. If Richard calls, remember, you don't know where I am.
All right, Jane.
Come in.
Hello, Jane. Hiya, chicken.
Hi, Al.
Hello, Al, honey.
Oh, the humiliation of that unemployment office. I won't have to put up with that stuff much longer. Got a deal that'll put me on Easy Street.
Yeah, I know. You're going to glue corn silk on old sweaters and sell them for fur jackets.
No, that's not the deal, but like yours better.
Sorry, Al. I've already patented it with the insane asylum. Well, I'll be back as soon as I find a hat, honey. Goodbye, all.
Disparaging dame. Never going to amount to nothing.
Oh, don't say that about Jane, Al. She has a date for dinner tonight with a new boyfriend.
Oh? She gave Richard the old heave-ho?
Well, Richard has been stalling. You know, a girl gets impatient waiting for a man to accept her proposal.
Chicken, you ain't hinting about you and I.
No, Al, but now that you mention it, I think it's about time we get married. I want to have children while I'm young, while I still know what more than they do.
But, Chicken, you can't get married on a shoestring. Besides, I want you to have a nice home, beautiful furniture, a maid, and a car of your own.
Oh, Al, a car of my own?
Well, certainly. You think after we're married, I'm going to let you walk to work?
Oh, but Al, I get so tired of waiting for that day.
Oh, now, Chicken, you got to be patient till one of my deals comes through.
Oh, Al, if you could only get a good job like Jane's new boyfriend has, we could get married right away.
Yeah, what does this guy do?
Oh, he's with the government in charge of financial distribution.
Financial distribution. Sounds important. Chicken, me meeting a guy like that might change our whole future.
How?
I'm working on a plan. Know all our dreams will come true.
Oh, Al, I have so much confidence in you. Let me give you a big kiss for luck.
Okay, Chicken. Hey, Chicken, what's the idea of making those cross eyes when I kissed you?
Well, I wanted to see on which side of my nose your nose goes when you kiss me.
Which side?
Neither. We meet bumper to bumper.
April 19th, 1948, My Friend Irma on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Marie Wilson and My Friend Irma, April 19th, 1948.
Well, I've been shopping for a hat. I've tried off the face hats, on the face hats, low brims, high brims, no hat, just brim. However, I saw one that I thought was adorable. 3 roses sewed on a ribbon. $95. I wouldn't spend that much for 3 roses if I just finished a quart of 4 roses. So, I decided to just forget the hats. Let my personality work for me tonight. Hello, honey.
Hi, Jane. Did you get a hat?
No, I didn't, honey. Not that I care, but, did Richard call?
No.
Oh, well, who cares? Just as well. Oh?
Yes.
Well, I don't care. Were you here all the time?
Yes.
Well, if he does call, tell him I'm not here.
All right, Jane.
Never mind, I'll tell him. Hello?
Hello, Jane.
Oh, it's you, Richard.
Jane, I have good news for you. I'm taking you out tonight.
I've got news for you. I've already got a date.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I have.
Well, that's nice. Enjoy yourself.
I certainly will.
Good night, Jane.
Richard? 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 Well, how do you like that? He's not even angry.
Well, Jane, do you care?
Of course I don't care. He means nothing to me. Nothing at all.
Jane, you just tore your handkerchief.
Well, I like it that way. After all, 2 handkerchiefs are better than 1. Oh, leave me alone, will you? All men are dogs. Come in.
Hiya, Chicken.
Hello, Prince, honey. We were just talking about you.
Oh, something good, I hope. Because, Jane, I got something to ask you, and I don't know exactly how to begin.
Well, leave out the words, may I borrow, and just take it from there.
I don't need money, Jane. It is my belief that a guy only gets places through contacts, people he meets.
Yeah, that's partially true.
Yeah. Now, when you first introduced me to Richard, I thought he could do me some good. But Through some slip in the conversation, he found out I was a bum. Now, Jane, you got a new guy, and I want him to think well of me. I mean...
You mean in case he can do you some good?
Well, contacts are vital, Jane.
Now, wait, Al. I've just met Peter. It's our very first date. I haven't even been out with him yet. I know he has an important position with the government, but I can't ask him to waste his time helping out the unemployed.
But, Jane, I'm not asking for myself. It's for Chicken. I want to marry her. But first I want to make a man out of myself.
Oh, Al, don't change too much. Well, I mean...
Hold it, Chicken. Look, Jane, your new guy is with the government, and they got lots of jobs open. There's diplomatic work, there's reclamation projects. Well, I might get a job with the TVA.
No, Al, I don't want you to fly.
Chicken, TVA is a dam.
I don't want you to swear either.
What do you say, Jane? I'd get down on my knees and beg you, but this suit won't take it. What do you say we all go to dinner together?
Well, gee, Al, I'd like to help you make new contacts if I could, but I can't impose on a strange man and an important man on our very first date.
I'm not asking for charity. The treat's on me. We'll pick up the check to impress this guy. Part of the scheme.
Oh, Al, I just can't do it.
Oh, Jane, it's for our children.
I can't even do it for your children, and believe me, I'm crazy about them. Hello. Yes, this is Jane Stacy. Oh, hello, Peter. How nice of you to call.
Please, Jane.
Try it. We'll pay all expenses.
Yeah. Peter, I hope you don't mind, but I have a rather unusual request to make. You see, I live with a girl, Irma Peterson, and her boyfriend is in town, and they would like us to be their guests at dinner. What's that? You accept? Now, you sure you don't mind? Oh, that's fine. We'll meet you here for cocktails. Yeah, same time. Wonderful. Goodbye. What do you know? He didn't object. He even seemed eager.
Hey, you see? The rich like a handout, too.
Don't be ridiculous, Al. He probably has more money at his fingertips than the government itself. Now, remember, Al, you said you'd pay for this dinner. It's all on you, and I want to go to a very nice place.
We'll handle everything. After all, I'm trying to make an impression, too. Must spend money to get money.
Oh, Jane, you're really a wonderful friend. And believe me, Al and I'll never forget this, and after we get married, we'll name our first baby after you. That is, if it's a girl. If it's a boy, we'll name him Jim, but we'll spell it Jane.
Well, now that I've committed myself to cocktails, I guess I better run out and get some hors d'oeuvres.
Fine, Jane. And after cocktails, the entire evening is on me.
It had better be.
I'm loaded.
Oh, Al, it's working out wonderfully. Where'll we go for dinner?
That's not important. What is important is where am I going to get the money to pay for it?
Oh, but Al, didn't you get your unemployment check today?
Yeah, but made some bad business investments, Chicken. Ran into the crummiest slot machines I have ever seen. I have seen more lemons today than the whole state of California.
Oh, but Al, Jane and her boyfriend are going as your guest. What are you going to do?
Chicken, when you're in a spot like this, there's only one man who can help you.
Who, Al?
Who else but... Hello, Joe? Al, got a problem. Need $50 immediately. What do you suggest? Play bingo. But, Joe, how do you win $50 playing bingo? Or the way you play it at Surefire? Stand in a dark alley with a club? Wait for a guy to walk past, and bingo, you've got the money? Oh, no, Joe. No, must be legitimate. In that case, you cannot be of service to me. Gotcha. Goodbye, Joe. Chicken, you get ready. I'm going out to try to hustle the $50.
But, Al, you got your unemployment check today. What are you doing back?
Pete, I'm in a spot. Could I have an advance against the next 2 weeks? Promise you I won't get a job.
Al, look, that's against regulations. It can't be done.
But this might help you. I'm entertaining a big shot with the government. Might get you a good job.
Please, Al, don't bother me. I've got my own troubles. I've got a date with a new girl tonight, and I've got to raise $10 to get my suit out of hock. Yeah. I was in a worse hole. But luckily, she's got a girlfriend whose chump boyfriend is picking up the dinner tab.
You're a fine pal. But I'll fix you. This year I vote Republican, and next year you'll be in this line right in back of me.
Well, Al, I'm all dressed and ready to go out. Are we going to a ritzy restaurant?
With my present resources, Chicken, I hope Jane's boyfriend's a vegetarian.
Why?
Looks like we're going to chew grass in the park.
Oh, Al, Jane will be embarrassed because this is her first date, and he's such an important man and everything. Come in.
It's only us again, Kropotkin and O'Reilly.
And the conclusion of My Friend Irma, April 19th, 1948, when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues following this message from your favorite radio station. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell and MyPillow launching the MyPillow 2.0. Now, when Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes MyPillow even better. Of course, the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, but now with brand new fabric with a temperature-regulating thread, it's the softest, smoothest, and coolest pillow you'll ever own. Say goodbye to tossing and turning and flipping your pillow over in the middle of the night. And more great news on the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer with my promo code Wyatt. MyPillow 2.0 is 100% made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to receive the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer. Use my promo code Wyatt or call 1-800-928-4715. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of My Friend Irma, the dinner date, April 19th, 1948.
Oh, hello.
Mrs. O'Reilly and I would like for you to do us a favor tonight, please. We are going out, and we wonder if you'll take any messages that come for us.
Be glad to, Professor, but you got to do me a favor.
Huh?
It's a matter of life or death. Could you lend me 50?
Sure. Can you break $1?
No, $50.
Al, if I had $50, do you think I would be going around with a certain party so she won't throw me out because I can't pay the rent?
Oh, Professor, you and your jokes. Al, since you're Irma's boyfriend and I'm in such a good mood tonight, I'll lend you the $50.
Gee, thanks.
If I thought I'd get it back.
Oh, I'll be good for it.
Very well. Now, if you gentlemen turn your backs, I'll take it out of the vault. Now, don't peek, Professor. It's in the stocking.
How do you like that? And to think I've been wasting time holding hands with her.
Here you are, Al.
Come on, Mrs. O'Reilly. Now we can go dancing. Before I was ashamed to take you. Before it looked like you had 3 knees. Goodbye and good luck, kid.
Thanks again, Mrs. O'Reilly. Consider this only a temporary loan. Okay, Chicken, now we're in business. And since we're going out with such an important man, you take this money and go down and buy yourself an orchid.
Well, Al and Irma and myself are waiting for Peter Guilford to come over for cocktails. Irma's dressed for the occasion. She's wearing a sweater with her initials, an I and a P embroidered on it. And knowing that Peter is a government man, Irma wants to show him she's impartial, so she's embroidered 2 more letters in front of her initials. D for Democrat and an R for Republican. Of course, the fact that it comes out drip doesn't seem to bother her at all. Honey?
Yes, Jane?
You know, I can't understand why Peter's late.
Well, he better show up. I've already invested $10 for Chicken's orchid. He's got to be a very big man for me to get my money back.
Now, don't worry, Alan. Just don't embarrass me, please. Well, I guess I'll go in the kitchen and fix the hors d'oeuvres.
Chicken, just got an idea.
What, Al?
When this Peter gets here, it won't be right for me to blow my own horn. So I think I'll go into the bathroom, and that'll give you a chance to tell him all about me.
Well, Al, what shall I say?
Well, tell him I'm now retired, but will make myself available because I know the government wants men to take charge of various projects in all 48 states.
The projects in all 48 states. Yes, I'll remember.
Oh, that must be him now. Let him in. I'll be in the bathroom.
Come Come in, Mr. Guilford.
Oh, good evening. You must be Jane's roommate.
Yes, that's me. My initials are on my sweater. Just the second half. Won't you sit down so we can chat about my boyfriend?
What about him?
He's been engaged in various projects, and he's wanted in all 48 states.
What?
Irma, honey, would you get the ice and the... Oh, hello, Peter.
Oh, hello, Jane. Your roommate has been trying to tell me something, but
I know. We'll have a drink. Irma's easier to take that way. Al, come on out. I want you to meet someone.
Come in.
Al, this is...
Al! Pete! Holy mackerel. Jane, is this the big shot government man?
Why, yes.
Chicken, you know your orchid?
Yes.
Put it in the icebox. We're going to have to eat it all week.
Well, it's a small world. I never knew it could be so revolting. Me, Jane Stacy, the girl with all the answers, had to fall for a guy who was only one step ahead of Al. So I said, you know, Irma, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to stick with Richard. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
That's what Al says.
What do you mean, honey?
He says, why should he go looking for another chicken when he has a perfectly good cuckoo?
Yeah, and for once, Al has come through with a perfect description of my friend Irma.
My Friend Irma, presented by Swan, another fine product of Lever Brothers Company, was produced and directed by Cy Howard. Tonight's script was written by Cy Howard and Park Levy. My Friend Irma stars Marie Wilson as Irma and Kathy Lewis as Jane. The part of Professor Kropotkin was played by Hans Conried. Ladies, listen. The shortage of fats and oils is still very serious, and it's worldwide. So please keep on saving every drop of used kitchen fat. Your butcher will pay you for every pound. Frank Bingman speaking.
April 19th, 1948, My Friend Irma on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 4, the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Shepherd Matter. This part originally broadcast April 19th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Bill Crosby, Dollar. Were you in bed?
Nope.
Good. Put on your coat and come on downtown.
Can't it wait till morning?
Nope. Want me to send somebody out to pick you up?
Are you talking about an arrest?
I might be, Dollar. Whatever I have to do to keep you around.
I'll make it under my own steam, pal.
15 minutes. Room 203, City Hall, okay?
I may take 16 minutes if I feel like it.
And maybe you'll need longer. I want a real good story about Paul Forbes. A better one than you've told so far.
Tonight, and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Richard Porter, 480 Webster Boulevard, Providence, Rhode Island. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Shepherd matter. Swindle sheet item 7, 10 cents, one newspaper. It carried the story of Dr. Shepherd's murder and told how his life had been threatened by Paul Forbes earlier in the week. Obviously, Dr. Charles Shepherd had been lured to his death by Forbes, who had telephoned him, pretended to need a physician, waited until the victim appeared, and then shot him down. The police had an APB out for Paul Forbes. All parties concerned were notified. The deceased was survived by his mother, Mrs. Clara Shepherd of Pawtucket. Amen.
Come right in, Dollar. Sit down.
There were about 6 people in Crosby's office, among them Richard Porter, who had hired me to investigate Shepherd because of a suspicious insurance application. A uniformed officer from the Harbor Patrol who had discovered Shepherd's body, and 2 other men from Crosby's staff. I told them how I had been hired, that I didn't believe all of Shepard's story about the threat on his life. I told them about Forbes slugging me for no apparent reason. I also mentioned the insurance matter had never been satisfactorily explained.
Well, it's never going to be explained as far as I can see, Dollar.
Oh, I'll find an explanation, Phil. You solve your murder, and I'll do what I have to do.
We've got it solved. All we have to do is pick up Forbes. You know that.
I don't know anything. You get huffy with me on the phone, and you start talking about arrest, and I don't know anything.
You said that when you went to see Shepard yesterday morning, he waved a gun at you, a .32.
That's right.
It wasn't on his body. He knew Forbes hadn't been picked up. His life was in as much danger as ever. Why didn't he carry the gun?
You know, that's a pretty good question, Phil.
Yeah.
What else?
He allegedly went out on an emergency call tonight. No little black bag in his car. No little black bag by his body. What doctor goes out on any call without his bag?
Oh, I wouldn't let that worry me so much. I'd find out if it was an emergency, or he knew who was going to meet him when he went out.
I thought you might have some ideas.
Have you talked to Mrs. Forbes?
Of course I've talked to her. She hasn't any idea where her husband might be hiding. She's sure he killed Dr. Shepard. That servant in the house is sure. He told me about Shepard being threatened by Forbes. Shepard told you about being threatened. Forbes slugged you, slugged Mrs. Forbes. Been running around town like a madman all day. But everything you say and every way you say it, it comes out Shepard was lying.
I did it on purpose. I wanted to worry you to death.
Well, every officer in this town has Forbes' description and the license of his car. We ought to get him before the night's out. He's the boy.
Good luck, Phil. He was a good policeman with a lot of doubts, and he was mad about them. And that's what it generally takes to get matters straightened out. I found Corinne Streeter at the morgue, standing beside the marble slab on which a late employer had been laid. She looked pale and wan in her stiff white uniform and blue nurse's cape. Her eyes were red with tears, but no sound escaped her. Then she looked up at me once, sighed, and started out of the place. Wait.
What now?
Well, I'd like to help you.
Can you help him? No. No, you can't. No one can.
I tried.
Who did it?
Well, the police say Paul Forbes shot him. It looks that way from all they can gather.
Over Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Oh. They're looking for him, I suppose.
Yes.
Well, you're something of a policeman, Mr. Dollar. Why aren't you out helping them or something?
Please, Miss Streeter, I know we've had words.
I'll answer that question you asked me earlier today.
What?
You asked me if I loved Dr. Shepard. Yes, Mr. Dollar, I loved him. I loved him more than my whole life.
When she said that, and for some reason I don't know, I had a feeling that I was hearing the first bit of unembroidered truth I'd heard in 2 days. It didn't make me feel any better, but it did clear up something that had been in the back of my mind, working its way to the front. Expense account item 8, $6.70. A steak, 3 martinis, and an order of sliced tomatoes. I finished eating at 2:30 in the morning. I really didn't want it, but I did want to sit down and do some thinking. After that, I climbed into my rented car and drove out to Dr. Shepard's office building. Expense account item 9, $5 even. Bribe for watchman.
I shouldn't be doing this, you know. Might lose my job over it. But since you're from the insurance company, I guess you're all right.
I sure appreciate it.
Too bad about Dr. Shepard. Nice fella.
Yeah, very nice.
What is it you think you'll find? Police been here till almost an hour ago, poking around.
Do you know if they found anything?
Oh, sure. Doctor's emergency kit. Heard him say he didn't take it with him when he went out in that last emergency.
Well, I won't be long.
Oh, I'm going to come right in and watch you.
Shepard had been a thorough man, and from all evidence, he and Miss Streeter kept and operated an efficient file system in the office. However, he had kept no medical history of his prime patient, Pauline Forbes. As a matter of fact, in checking over both the patient's files and the card files, there was no evidence to indicate that Mrs. Forbes had ever been a patient of Shepard's, which seemed strange in view of the fact that he told me he treated her for 14 months or better, and ended the treatment by advising her to divorce her husband. What's more, he had never mentioned that Paul Forbes had been one of his patients. But an entry dated some 2 years before disclosed the fact that Dr. Shepard had examined, treated, and discharged Paul Forbes as a patient. These 2 developments supplied me with all of the curiosity I'd need for a while. Nurse Corinne Streeter's home address was duly noted on Dr. Shepard's phone book. Oakdale House, surprisingly enough, on Oakdale Street. Special rates for nurses. Room 205.
Yes? Oh, Mr. Dollar.
How do you feel?
Not too good, Mr. Dollar. I only got home about 15 minutes ago. They kept me down there pretty long. Then Dr. Shepard's mother came. Do you want to come in?
Yeah, thanks.
It isn't much of a place, is it? I mean, I haven't straight...
Well, things like tonight aren't easy, I know, but... Look, Miss Streeter, I wish you'd help me and tell me who Dr. Shepard was intending to marry.
Mary? Why, I had no idea.
I was in the office a half an hour ago. He'd already made arrangements for a honeymoon, reservations on the Ile-de-France for next June. Any ideas?
Please go.
I can't. Look, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help. I mean, was it Mrs. Forbes?
What?
Look, Miss Streeter, things are all wrong about your doctor's death, about what happened before it. It'll all come out sooner or later.
Oh, I suppose it will. It's awful to say this, Mr. Dollar, but Mrs. Forbes was the only person doctors saw socially this last year. And she, of course, is married.
How'd they meet? When her husband was Dr. Shepard's patient?
Yes, that's right. They became quite friendly.
Mrs. Forbes was never a patient, but Mr. Forbes was. Now, what can you tell me about Mr. Forbes?
Well, he came to see Dr. Shepard a year or two ago, then stopped coming in. I believe he requested a copy of his medical history to be sent to another doctor in Baltimore, I think it was.
Uh-huh. But Dr. Shepard kept right on seeing Mrs. Forbes.
Yes.
Huh? All right. Do you have any idea why I was called in by the insurance broker?
At first I didn't. But I don't understand what you're trying to do. The police want Mr. Forbes. What does it all mean?
It'll sicken you, Miss Streeter.
Oh, tell me if you know. Tell me, please.
It means the wrong man was killed tonight. I was pretty sure of what I meant when I said that. And I was also pretty sure that Phil Crosby in the police department had recognized the setup. It so happened I had a head start in the way of information. And though it was 6 o'clock in the morning by that time, I decided to use it.
Mr. Dollar?
Hello, Mrs. Forbes. I'd like to come in.
What is it?
I should have tumbled to it right away, but your husband fit the part too well.
Look here. I've been through quite enough today with the police and all out looking for Paul and Dr. Shepard being killed.
Stop looking pained and tired. I'm the guy that's tired. I'm the one who was going to be the star witness when the state tried Shepard for killing your husband.
What?
Why not get a star witness for free? Why not make a suspicious insurance move so an investigator would be called in? An investigator who'd back up a self-defense plea for your doctor and get him off on justifiable homicide.
Get out of here. Get out of here. I'll call the police.
And you and the doctor sail to France in June and live happily ever after? What's the matter? Wouldn't your husband give you a divorce?
Go ahead. If you say it's that way, Mr. Dollar, and you know everything, then it must have been that way.
Only it got fouled up. Your husband did shoot your boyfriend after all, just as he threatened to.
Get out of here. You can't prove any of it. Not one word of it.
Oh, you're right about that, Mrs. Forbes. I can't prove anything, not a thing. Shepard's dead, and they want your husband for it. He threatened Shepard, and they'll get him for it, and that's that. But you have something to live with for the rest of your life. Your doctor's gone. He'll never come back. Or maybe you can just have a cup of coffee and forget all about it.
Get out! Get out! Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
What?
Yeah, that's it, Phil. That's what was supposed to happen. Shepard had it planted all over town how Forbes had threatened his life. He had witnesses. He had me, even. All he had to do was go out and shoot Forbes any place, any time. But Forbes got him first. Can people get by with this kind of thing in our courts of law? If and when you get your hands on Paul Forbes, will he have any kind of defense?
Oh, we'll get him, Dollar. The other I can't answer. What you just told me can't be proven. I don't see how a lawyer can do much for a guy who threatens another man's life and then finally guns him down, do you?
But it was Forbes who was the marked man all this time. He was supposed to die. If it could be proved that Forbes was a patsy, that the doctor intended to gun him down...
The judge and jury, Johnny. When we get Forbes, he'll be arraigned and indicted for first-degree murder. Don't worry about that part. And the rest is up to the court, out of our hands. After all, we're pretty sure Forbes shot and killed Dr. Shepard.
Hang up that phone, Dollar.
You still on the wire, Johnny?
Hang it up or I'll blow your head off.
Paul Forbes looked the part of a fugitive. His coat was ripped in several places. The knuckles on his left hand were torn and raw. There was mud on his shoes and pant legs. His eyes told the rest of the story. He was blazing mad. He had a gun, and he wasn't afraid to use it.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow I find out how hard it is to kill a lie. Sometimes you have to kill it twice. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by John Dawson, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
Originally broadcast April 19th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows. We produce 21 hours of Classic Radio Theater each and every week. You can find them all there. You can find our social media links. You can also find out more information about building a classic radio collection of your own. And you can buy me a copy. That Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections, and it also helps us maintain our distribution channels. That's at classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tell all your friends the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, here on your favorite radio station.